Recording in progress.
Hi, board. Subha Sandhyavak. Wish you a wonderful evening. Halis Plantations, the Sri Lanka's leading plantation business sector in the country, representing Sri Lanka's best rankers in regional plantation company ranking. Estate PLC, Kalani Valley Plantation. With the guidance and direct leadership from our managing director, Dr. Roshan Ragzore, we have introduced the first ever HR strategic plan in 2013. In line with HR strategic plan, we have developed and we have focused various training and development initiatives called Helis Plantations Learning and Development Series. Some of these learning series are Helis Plantations Digital Learning Series, Helis Plantations Technical Learning Series, Helis Plantations Global Learning Series, Helis Plantations Green Learning Series, and so on. Coming to Helis Plantation Digital Learning Series, there are various training sessions we are conducting at the moment. One of the great initiative developed through Helis Plantation's HR team, that is Evening with an Expert. Today, we are in another great milestone, that is the session number 4 of Evening with an Expert. Topic of the day, stay positive in crisis times, facing a new era. Today, to address this current and inspiring topic, we have another globally recognized great speaker, expert speaker today with us. He's not a stranger for Helis Plantations, but let me introduce our expert speaker today is Mr. Dammika Kalapuge. On behalf of Managing Director of Harris Plantations, Dr. Roshan Rajzore, and on behalf of the entire team of Harris Plantations, we would like to welcome you warmly. Ayubowan. Mr. Dammika Kalapuge is one of Sri Lanka's most sought after trainers, a name synonymous with service quality enhancement training. HIPCOM One Private Limited is a company involved in total people development. At present, Mr. Kalapuge works as a principal management consultant and a trainer focusing on service quality enhancement, system studies, mystery customer service, employee satisfaction surveys, and employee motivation to achieve higher productivity, customer growth, and retention. Mr. Kalapuge has held senior marketing positions in Sampath Bank, Eagle Insurance, and Eagle NDB Fund Management. Prior to launching his career as a dedicated professional trainer, he held the position of Vice President Marketing at DFCC Bank. Mr. Kalapuge has over 20 years of experience in service marketing and has benefited from many professional development programs held both locally and overseas. During the last 2 decades, he has conducted over 2,650 inspirational workshops in management, entrepreneurial development, customer care, service excellence, relationship marketing, and motivation to over 700 leading public, private sector, and multinational institutions, both in Sri Lanka and overseas. Also, Mr. Kalapuge has been a keynote speaker at several local and international forums. Over 350,000 participants have benefited from his program so far. Mr. Kalapuge is a postgraduate diploma holder of SIM UK, diploma holder of marketing from Marketing Council of Australia, a fellow and certified practicing marketeer to the Australian Marketing Institute. He also holds an advanced diploma in business administration from Association of Business Executives UK and is a fellow member of the Institute. Mr. Kalapuge is a former executive committee member of the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. And as I mentioned earlier, he conducted few sessions for Harris Plantations a few years back. So, Mr. Dammika Kalapuge, over to you to conduct today's sessions. Evening with an expert, session number 4. Stay positive in crisis times, facing a new era. Over to you, Mr. Kalapuge. Thank you.
Thank you, Anuruddha. And I go on to every one of you. It's an honor to be with you all again after maybe about 2 years or so. And during a crisis time, to talk about facing a new era. I'm privileged indeed to do it to one of the best companies in Sri Lanka, business conglomerate Harris. The reason being that this company had done so very well despite the crisis that was there in the marketplace last year. So subsidiaries like you all have made a contribution towards it. To say a little about this online program, over the last couple of months, there have been many inquiries from me asking for a kind of an online program. But you know, my style of doing is that body language plays quite a vital role. So therefore, I didn't want to accept it. But last week, when I was participating at a board meeting, the chairman of that company referred to this era as, or this decade as COVID decade, and said that many of us, we have to do things online, meetings, programs, and then maybe the crisis management situations. Therefore, I decided, let me get on with this online program series. And to be very frank, this is the first of this kind that I'm running for you. And then today, this morning, there were about 3 or 4 inquiries that came in asking for online programs, which I've been refusing previously, which I said that, okay, we are going to do it this time. So if there are any technical hiccups that come up, please bear with me. So it's a trial and error that we are doing, but I'll try my level best with my team to give the best to you. Now, talking about Sri Lanka, is that we find that we always have the best talent available in this country. I had been mentioning this in many other forums. Why do I say so? If I ask you the question, in the world, what is the place where you find most number of intellectuals are working under one roof? What is the place? If I ask you, I'm sure every one of you would say NASA. Now, NASA Center becomes so unique for the reason being, there are 2 reasons for it. It is the single story, the tallest building. And on top of that, that is the building where you find most number of intellectuals are working under one roof. So probably the reason being that many intellectuals are working under one roof, so they do need room to expand their brains. So therefore, probably they would have put the roof at the highest elevated position. Now, NASA Center, all in all, do have about 2,400 scientists, and out of them, you and I can be proud to say that 263 are from Sri Lanka. So we have great talent in this country, and I want to start my presentation with that. Now, NASA Center, if you look at it, out of the 2,400 scientists, they have identified 36 great scientists, and amongst them, you get a guy called Dr. Sarath Gunapala. Now, he becomes instrumental in making the visual imagery camera of this unit that is moving on planet Mars, called Mars Rover. And this visual imagery camera is scientist, Dr. Sarath Gunapala. Okay, right. So you find that he's one of the greatest scientists who studied in Sri Lanka and then completed his first degree in Colombo campus, and thereafter he got a scholarship. He went to US and they identified his talent, and then he was being offered a job there in US, and today he's one of the greatest scientists. So you find the greatest talent available in this country. And as you all know, US is a country where they attract talent from all over the world, and they help people to excel along with that talent. And once they achieve greatness, they say they are proud of our Americans. Okay, right. And you know this person, Dr. Sarath Gunapala. Sorry, doctor is a professor coming from not Gunapala, the previous guy. This guy is the one who examined the stones that were being brought by the moon. And this professor, his name will come to me in a while. This professor, what he did was the stones that were being brought by the moon, it was being given to him. And he's, as you all know, Professor Cyril Perumal, coming from St. Aloysius Gaul. And then he was the best geological engineer who was there at that moment of time. And these stones were given to him to experiment and then give the report. And look at this. Many of you had seen this. And this is so-called Guinness Sicily. And when I was at Dambulla once in a hotel, this person performed this. And it was a cultural show and many foreigners were watching. The foreigner who was seated next to me screamed, and then he got up and said, "Oh, I can't believe it. In our country, this kind of a fire torch, you cannot put it in even to a pond and then stop blowing it. But here, of course, he just put it to the mouth and then stop blowing it. And what a great talent." And he said that I'm going to explore the possibilities of getting this team down to my country, to his country, to perform a show. And then again, he said, but my worries do not know whether any insurance company would give the fire car for this. Now see the kind of talent we have. And enough and more talent you get in this country. And you know this guy, Professor Mahalingam. Now, Professor Mahalingam, he was very good at maths from his childhood onwards. He was very good at maths. Now, what happened? Every time he was getting 100 out of 100 marks for maths. And O-level paper, when he was sitting, there were 8 questions. And Professor was, this Mahalingam student was asked to answer only 5 out of 8. 5 questions out of 8. What did he do? The question paper had 3 hours. What did he do? Just within 1.5 hours, he virtually answered all 8 questions. And he put a footnote to the examiner and said, I have answered all 8 questions. Whatever you want, you better select 5 and then mark. And he got 100 out of 100. Then he did his O-levels well, A-levels well, and then after he got into Peradeniya University. And then he did very well there, engineering faculty, first class honors. He became a senior lecturer and after a professor. You all have heard of Rolls-Royce Company. Rolls-Royce Company, what they do is they mainly manufacture cars for multi-billionaires in the world. And in addition to that, they make jet engines as well. So Rolls-Royce happened to make a jet engine, one of their Avrojet engine some time back. So what happened? This engine had a problem. It couldn't take off. The reason being that the vibration was too high. And the engineers at Rolls-Royce Company tried their level best to reduce these vibrations and they all failed. Finally, they sent this formula to Professor Mahalingam, Peradeniya campus professor, and said, Professor, our latest production, the jet engine for the Avrojet, we can't take off because its vibration is too high. Can you just study and give us a formula to modify this? So what happened now? What happened? He just modified the formula and sent and said, try out this formula and see whether vibration can be brought under control. And what happened? They tried out that formula. They found that vibration was under control. And they asked this Professor Mahalingam, Professor Mahalingam, your solution had worked. Whatever you are going to ask, we are going to give. Whatever you want. You know what this guy asked? This guy is such a humble person. He used to drive a Morris Minor down Dalha Road to the campus. Right? Now, if you are Professor Mahalingam, you would have asked for a Rolls-Royce car. He said, no, no, no. All what I need is just donate us a Rolls-Royce engine, even a used one, it's okay. For our student to feel, touch, and then see the way how it works. And then here where you find that engine, when you go there, you can see. Right. So we have the greatest talent, even for good things as well as for the bad things. I'll give you another negative experience as well. You all have seen this machine. This has been previously used by bus conductors, right? And they were using this. Now, this is a foolproof machine. Nobody can do anything. And it was made in UK and France. One of our conductors found a way, long back in the 60s, found a way of manipulating this machine and generating tickets in a manner where that it does not get accounted. So in the evening, he had earned a lot of money by using the machine, whereas he had to settle the CTV a less amount of money. So what happened now? Now, when this was identified, they informed the manufacturing company and they said, what's wrong with this machine? You all said it's a foolproof. But here, one of our guys had been earning a lot of machines by using this. Now, to be very frank, the manufacturer themselves couldn't find out how are they doing so. And finally, what happened? A team came all the way from UK to meet this guy and then ask, what did you do to manipulate this machine for your benefit? And apparently, it's by using a little pin. He had done all that. So you have a good thing and bad thing, we have the greatest talent. We are facing crisis times, but still for all, we have the greatest talent in this country. And we can get over it. We can somehow or other win this and then come out. And then how can we do that? And I'm going to share some ideas with regard to that to inspire you in this evening. And all things are difficult before they are easy. I was writing a few articles last year since I never had some programs. I was writing maybe about 16 articles to Daily FT. And to do that, I had to do a lot of research. And then one of the findings that I had was that in the Harvard Business Review, people who survive disasters are the ones who are able to regain cognitive function quickly, assess their new environment accurately, and take goal-directed action to survive within it. And it's very interesting. People who survive disasters are the ones who are able to regain cognitive function quickly, assess their new environment accurately, and take goal-directed action to survive within it. Now, I found it's a very interesting thing. People who survive disasters, we are facing a disaster. How are we to get over it? Cognitive function is something that is happening in your brain. So quickly, you got to turn on your brain to think positively and find ways of getting over it. Now, see, assess the new environment accurately. You have to do a kind of a proper assessment about the environment, and you have goal-directed actions to survive with you. Now, when I read this, a company in Sri Lanka came to my mind. I don't want to mention the name, but when I say about this company, all of you will get to know what it is. In year 2009, a company got into deep, deep trouble, and it was a huge business conglomerate. They had over about 400 subsidiaries. And out of all those 400 subsidiaries, 390 odd subsidiaries had to close down. They really have to close up their operation. The reason being that, okay, they couldn't survive. But there were 4 companies who really had to face this. Really, they decided to face it. And one of the finance companies among those 4, and the head of this finance company realized, what is going to happen now? All our companies are getting bankrupt, and finance companies, people are going to be concerned about the monies what they have deposited. So the first thing what they will do is they will come and ask for the money. So we should be ready to give that money, then the credibility goes up. So what did he do? He wanted to build up a capital to return people's money. So first thing what he did was, he sold his car. Managing director of this company, he sold his car. Then all the other C-suite managers followed suit. And what did they do? They also sold their vehicles. And they started coming to office by 3-wheelers. So they had a kind of an adequate capital build-up. So people came asking for their money. What happened? Readily they were in a position to give the money. And then the customers were wondering, here comes all the other companies in this conglomerate are in deep trouble. How come that this particular company is in a position to give the money when they ask for? No, they must be somewhat stable. Some who came to withdraw the money, they didn't want to witdraw. They withdrew half, and some they did. Some retrieve everything. Some decided to keep the money with them. And this particular company, somehow or other, they worked out a strategy to look after the customer well, look after their interest well, and to give them confidence that we are going to be here today. And then what happened as a result, dear friends, after about 2-3 years' time, they became amongst the first 20, and today they are among the first 5 finance companies in the country. Likewise, the insurance company they had and the hospital they had, all they started functioning because they followed this statement. People who survive disasters are the ones who are able to regain cognitive function quickly, assess their new environment accurately, and take goal-directed action to survive the event. Okay, now what should happen? Now, what is there is now more in the future rather than grinding the present. That's what I'm trying to discuss with you in this presentation. And in the process, we must give enough emphasis to a couple of things. What are they? Number one, competitiveness is a necessity. Though there is a crisis in the marketplace, we cannot take life easy. There is competitiveness available in the marketplace. So we got to understand it is a necessity. And number two is that rising expectation of the customers. And many people think that, okay, when there is a crisis, customers, whatever we give, they will just accept and go. But that's not going to be the case. US, one of the research that done, they have said that now this time, customers' expectations had gone up by 58% more than ever before. Why? People are very sensitive. People are very concerned about the money what they are going to spend. And people are concerned about their safety, health safety. And then a lot of expectations are there. So rising expectations of the customer, we got to understand it. And employee satisfaction. Because what is needed is that employees, they are somewhat worried whether our jobs will be safe, whether we'll have a tomorrow. And then on top of that, how are we going to maintain our lifestyles, what we have been maintaining all this time? So you've got to be concerned about their satisfaction as well. But shareholders, though there is a crisis, they will tolerate for a year, but again, they will ask for more profit. So enhancing profitability is also a concern. And the next is building customer loyalty. This is an ideal time to do something different and to see that your customers are going to be with you. You win the customers and to see that they are going to be with you for whatever endeavor. So these 5 concerns, we got to bear in our mind. Competitiveness is a necessity, rising expectation of customers, employee satisfaction, enhancing profitability, and building customer loyalty. And in the process, what we have to do is scan inside before you look outside. No point all the time putting the blame and the shame to another, right? You got to understand that here, come on, that we have to do something. What is it that we really have to do within ourselves? And I was listening to Mr. Dammika when the crisis took place. And he said, we have so many companies, that he said, he has so many companies. And he said, he called virtually all the CEOs, the directors, and said that, okay, we are sailing a ship now. And ship had got into a trouble. And it's a turbulent times. And you are the captains. And whoever cannot face this, now itself you can leave the ship. He said, not a single person happened to say that, okay, I'm going to leave. No, everybody decided to stay. So in the process, what we have to understand is we have to see our performance. The weakening performance is caused not only by external, right? Internal mismatching too can contribute. So now internally, what should we do, right, to move forward? And I say, understand the ways to lead. Now, lead, and in my programs, I always use a kind of a mnemonic. Now, what does this lead means? L, learn and update to be current. Learn and update to be current. You all have heard of this Chinese philosopher, Confucius. And he says, if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. And this has been said recently by Google CEO, Sundar Pichai, also stated the same thing in one of his speeches. And he said, if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. So you got to understand the fact that we got to keep on learning new things at a crisis time. And don't ever be complacent with what you know, saying that, hey, I'm the best. No, no, no. You got to keep on improving yourself. And number 2, execute with a passion. Whatever you do, you must do it with a passion. You must have a love towards the job. You must have a love towards the work what you are doing. And what does passion means? You can explain that in a very simple term, saying that it's the extraordinary enthusiasm. It is called an extraordinary enthusiasm. Now, Mao Zedong says, if you really want to inspire somebody, you must speak to that person's heart. And to speak to the heart, you must always speak the language that person understands better. Speak to that person in his own mother tongue. Now, this word passion I found a word for that in the dictionary, Munapal dictionary. It says Utsaha, Udyoge, Nandiva. And recently I found a word called Lalasa, right? And there's a new word, right? Now, these are new words that have come. Now, passion, to explain that in a very simple form, right? Dammika භාෂාවෙන් අපි කියනවා ගාය, රුදාව, කැක්කුම, හැම. මේ සිද්ධාලේ පෙකාල ගාය, රුදාව, කැක්කුම හැම නෙවෙයි. අපි කියන්නේ මොකද්ද මේ වැඩේ වලට අදිවර කරන්න තියෙන ගාය? මොකද්ද මේ මේ බස් කෙන ඔච්චර තියෙන රුදාව? මොකද්ද මේ අපේ කම්පැනි එකේ තියෙන ඔච්චර හැම? ගාය, රුදාව, කැක්කුම හැම. So likewise. Now, those are words that really touch your heart. So whatever you do, you must do it with the Gaya, Udava, Kakuman, Emma. And that is passion. And here we are, this guy, Elon Musk, he says, if something is important enough, even if the odds are against you, you should still do it. So when you are passionate, if there are things against you even, but what will you do? You will continue to do that. And that is the passion that every one of us must have. Okay, aligned to the changing environment. Environment is changing, there's so many factors now, right? And at a time like this, we got to align ourselves to the changing environment. If you only do what worked in the past, you will wake up one day and find that you have been passed by. So there's a need to align yourself for changing environment, and that you got to keep in mind. And here we are, I found this in one of the Australian magazines, aligned to the changing environment, creating the space within the management team to revisit assumptions, celebrate changing direction, and admit that a conclusion was wrong is critical when you are in extremely uncertain situations. A very interesting saying, because I'm a member of the Australian Marketing Council, and then in one of the magazines, last magazine, I saw this. And creating the space within the management team to revisit assumptions, celebrate changing direction, and admit that a conclusion was wrong is critical when you are in extremely uncertain situations. Generally, what we do in planning, we go by the past data, past information, and the past trends, and then we work towards the future. And I did that. In fact, I did. For the last 25 years, I had been a corporate trainer, and minimum I had been having minimum 10 days a month, 10 days a month. And there are days where I had worked for 26 days. Now, taking all the factors into consideration, the 22nd year, I decided to put up a big house. Right? Because the past trend was fine, so the income was assured. And then what did I do? We just worked out on an Excel sheet, even a worst case scenario, by taking not only 10 programs, by taking 8 minimum programs. And then, okay, we decided to put up this house. In the process, we had to borrow some money also from the banks because it exceeded the budget. Now, all that I would have easily managed if I had minimum 8 programs a month, whereas average had been about 12. And then about 15, and there are months, as I told you, 26 programs I have done. But with Saharan's attack and the crisis that took place after COVID, then what happened? You know, the first budget, what many people do cut is a training budget. As Mr. Radure had been often saying that we are not a company who would cut the training budget. That's great, give it up. Now, Jack Welch said, when they were in trouble in 2001, he said very clearly, training budget we are not going to touch, because this is the time we must train our people, inspire them, ask them to try out new things, so that when the economy is doing fine, we are in a position to come out with new innovations. Right, fine. So then training budget got cut. And then gradually I realized, oh, now based on the past data, I had done certain borrowings. Now, perhaps I may be in a position that not be in a position to service the loans. Right, and I always want to maintain a very clean, green credit report. So therefore, I had to change certain things what I've been doing, and then had to take certain decisions. Now, we all are facing this globally. Not a single airline, a hotel chain, a supermarket chain had been planning for this. But you know the troubles and the problems that they are facing right now. So when you are in extreme uncertain situations, we have to celebrate and then change the directions. Okay, now change is possible. This is a slide which I shared with you some time back when I was running the training program to you all. D into V into F must be greater than R. And D is dissatisfaction with the current situation. And vision is, V is vision in regard to possibilities. F is the first action to accomplish the vision. And they all got to be more than the resistance. The whole problem today is that resistance to change.
This is for Haley's plantation. That's for Kalimaliology plantation.
Is greater than R, change is possible. Right, watch. Look at this rock. If you want to move it, D into V into F is equal to R, it doesn't get more. But what happens is if D into V into F is smaller and if the R is much more powerful, R will always win. And ideally what should happen is D into V into F must be greater than R. So the elephant D into V into F must have much more strength than R. Then only D into V and F will win and the chain becomes possible. Okay, right. So the next is that the D, drive for results. The most crucial, the important factor that what we got to keep in mind. We have to drive for results. You know, Mr. Premlal Bhakanagay, the chairman, Prime Group, one of the leading property developers today in the marketplace, but really doing well despite the crisis. And recently he was sharing this slide. He said, if your purpose of doing a job is to create value to your workplace consistently, you can be rest assured of your continuity with that entity as long as it lasts. If your purpose of doing a job is to create value to your workplace consistently you must create value to the entity when you are working as an employee. You can be rest assured of your continuity. You'll be the last person who is going to lose the job because as long as the organization is going to be there. And when you are a value creator, you will have a job there. And today, what is meant is that you've got to be a value-adding employee. Value of the work done must be certainly much more than the salary received. Inside, we must feel, even at a crisis time, I did my utmost, much higher, much more than the salary what I had been receiving. So understand the ways to lead, learn and update to be current, execute with a passion, align to the changing environment, drive for results. In the process, I'm going to now discuss 9 points, 9 actionable points, which you can put it into practice. I'm sure this presentation is going to be recorded so that you would have access to those 9 slides which I'm going to share, or the 9 points that I'm going to share, which you can put it into practice. Okay, number 1 is be good at being uncomfortable. Be good at being uncomfortable. I will ask a simple question. Say that you want to put up a tube well in your garden. You are using a machine to dig this well. It just keeps on rotating. It keeps on rotating. You do not know whether it's moving. Suddenly it creates a sound. Means the needle had found the rock, right? And it had got into a kind of an uncomfortable situation. Then what happened? You can be happy because you have moved. Whenever you are doing something, if you feel that you are facing a discomfort, what does that mean? You have moved so far. You have moved. So that itself must be an inspiration for you to go forward. Whenever you are doing something, the moment you feel it's suddenly becoming tough, means feel happy that I have moved so far. Then let me face that challenge and move forward. Now, whenever you face a discomfort and when you move forward, there are 5 things that are taking place. Number 1, you have done that work. Number 2, you have found a way of doing that. Number 3, you know how to do it. Number 1, you have done it. Number 2, you have found a way of doing that. Number 3, even a similar thing that you get it in the future, you know how to do it. Number 4, you have a sense of satisfaction, you have achieved something. Number 5 is that even a worse challenge, if you get it in the future, you know that, okay, in the past, you have faced such discomfort and you have achieved success, and that will inspire you to move forward with even bigger challenges. So that's what happened. Why is that we really have to face uncomfortable situations these days? Here we are. I'm just going to elaborate this through this chart. Clients have changed. Clients have changed. You got to understand. Their expectations, their behavior had changed. Their concerns have changed. They're money conscious now, health conscious, timely they need solutions. Okay, consumption patterns have changed. Affordability had become a question. Consumption. If some who had been using branded stuff, now with the limited budgets, now they are thinking of, okay, going for sub-brands, right? And where certain companies also kept on running campaigns. We have changed now to this particular brand, right? Foreign brands to local brands, especially consumables. And the next is communication. And, you know, IT played quite a vital role. Digital communication played a vital role, and then it had changed. And the next is costing. You know, if you look at the freight industry, it's really doing well because the freight charges have gone up by about 3 or 4 times. So as a result, the products are to import, export. This freight cost has a bearing on that. So costing have changed. Travels and convenience. People want convenience. People want safety, and travels have changed. Whoever thought that Picnic and Uber will have this kind of business? Travels have changed. And confidence, customer confidence. And they are very, very careful in dealing with people whom they can trust now. And the next is compliance. The government had introduced certain compliance. The world as a whole had introduced certain compliance, but to obey them in running business. So therefore, taking these factors into consideration, you have to face these factors and take it as a challenge and then move forward. So when you are facing this uncomfortable situation and when you move forward, number one, you have done it. Number two, you have found a way of doing it. Number three, you know way of doing that in the future if you get a similar task. Number four, you have a satisfaction because you have done that. And number four, even a worse or a bigger challenge, if you get it in the future, you have confidence to face it. Okay, the next is we are going to talk about capitalize on the power of circumstances. Capitalize the power of circumstances. Get the circumstances into consideration and capitalize on them. And I want to share a very interesting story here. You know, this dialogue person CEO, Sukhumvir Singh, and he joined this particular company 25 years ago, just as an executive. But a master brain person who had got first class honors from Dammika University and CIMA qualified. And he was, when he joined, that moment itself, the senior management understood the capacity and the potential. And he grew up and he became so thorough with the basics. And he used his common sense, and greater seniors, he was very focused. And year on year, he was being promoted. And within about 15 years, he got into the top senior level, senior management, and he was at the senior level. And to the entire region, the Asiata group, he was being identified as the strategic head. And when they had a vacancy for the CEO position in Bangladesh, out of this 100 talent pool, he was there, and this person was being selected to head the Bangladesh operation. And Bangladesh had about 6 mobile players by then, and Ruby Asiata was at the 3rd place. So he went there, and would you believe, first thing what he did was, he just went to even the grassroots level. He learned the Bengali language just within about 3 to 4 months. And he went to all the bazaars, and then he started meeting the common man, talking in Bengali language, what he knew. And within the first 6 months, covered the entire country. And virtually, he had spoken to all walks of life to understand the ground reality. And when I was doing some programs in Bangladesh, he was sharing this experience with me. And then I asked him, why is that you did that? Why is that you want to learn Bengali and go down to the grassroots level and then speak to people and then understand about them? He said a very interesting thing. He said, know the ground reality well to harness our capability in full. So if you really want to harness the capability in full, you have to understand the ground reality. Go back to your basics, and you've got to be brilliant with your basics. Okay. Now, in the process, what Imran Khan, when he came to Sri Lanka in 2005 for his leadership summit, he said a very interesting thing. All of us have tremendous potential in us. Therefore, remember that we are only as big as the challenges we accept. All of us, we have tremendous potential in us. Therefore, remember that we are only as big as the challenges we accept. So if you take a smaller challenge, you can stretch yourself only up to that much. If you're going to accept a bigger challenge, you can stretch up to that much. So always understand, we are much more capable in doing things than what we think. Interestingly, this story had deeply touched my heart. People are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get ahead, the people who get on in this world are they who get up and look for the circumstances they want. And if they can't find them, make them. So often people are blaming for the circumstances for what they are. And he says, you don't go anywhere when you do so. I don't believe in those. The people who get on in this world are they who get up and look for the circumstances they want. And if they can't find them, make them. I will tell you a very interesting story, and many of you may have heard of this story. You know Thomas Bata. He is the Bata founder's son, who happened to run this business for a longer period of time. In 2008, he died. Thomas Bata once sent one of his sales rep to an island in South Africa. And he said, just go and examine and see how many pairs of shoes that you could sell there. And this guy went there, he came back and said, oh, no, I won't be able to sell a single shoe there. The sales rep came and gave the response. I won't be able to sell a single shoe there. Thomas Bata asked him, why do you say so? He said, sir, in that island, nobody is wearing shoes. So therefore that I can't sell shoes. Right. Okay. Then what happened? Aha. Then this guy, he said, Thomas Bata sent another salesman to the same island. But that guy had a different mindset the second time. He went to that island, not only to that island, all the surrounding islands, and he came back and told Thomas Bata, Mr. Bata, you give me that island, not only that island, all the surrounding islands, and you better put me the sales figure, I will achieve that tension. Thomas Bata was surprised. The previous guy who went there came and said he can't sell a single shoe, but here comes this. Another guy who went to the same island and surrounding islands, he's coming and saying, hey, you better put the target, I will sell a shoe. And surprisingly, he asked his second friend, why do you say so? That you can sell any number of shoes there, put the target. So I found the island which you wanted me to go. Nobody's wearing shoes. And I visited the surrounding islands too. And nobody's wearing shoes in those islands either. Means I have a great market potential. First of all, I will go and tell them, what does a shoe mean? I'll explain it. And I will tell them how to wear it. And when you wear it, the comfort it provides to your feet. And the protection and how smart you are going to look when you wear shoes. And then thereafter, once they get used to wearing shoes, and when once it's a habit, I will make it a fashion. Depending on their attire, I will tell them what shoe will suit them. So whatever. Shiploads of shoes started following the second rep. So the first guy came and said, hey, can't sell. Second guy, so many shoes he managed to sell. And Thomas Bata says something like this. He says, very interesting thing. And getting from Sir Vincent Churchill, Thomas Bata says, optimists see opportunities in every difficulty. Pessimists see difficulties in every opportunity. Optimists see opportunities in every difficulty. Pessimists see difficulties in every opportunity. Okay, so people are always blaming circumstances what they are. And I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on this world are the ones who will get up and look for the circumstances they want, as Thomas Bata's second rep. Or if you can't, try to make them. I will give a story here, a personal story. You know, the marketing, the degree, the final 4 subjects. What happened? I have completed now altogether 11 subjects. The 12th subject is a case study. From London, what do? They send a case just 1 month before. You are supposed to analyze the case, prepare a folder, go to the examination hall, and 3-hour paper. They will ask 3 questions based on the case type, what was said. And if you have done your analysis right, all those 3 questions you can answer. Now, twice I had come down this exam. For the reason being, my analysis would have been wrong. Now, without completing the 12th paper, you are not completing your degree. So what happened now? Here we are for the 3rd time, having paid £85 those days, I'm talking 1995, I'm sitting for the exam. Now the case came. Right, what happened? My dear friends, I was working at that time, can't take leave. You can't take the case to office and do the analysis because you're not focused. And I don't have a habit of waking up in the morning and then doing it. So the best time is that evening, you come after work and then do it. So just 1 month prior to the examination, the case came. Then my wife called me and said, here the case that comes from now onwards, you have about a month, do the analysis proper and complete this subject so you are going to get the degree. So what happened that evening, I came home, had a wash, cup of tea, a snack, and then I found 2 just folders, highlighters, notepad, and then I just opened it on it and took the case out. What happened? Power went off. So I was waiting for a while, no, it didn't come. Till 10 o'clock, power didn't come, and I was in a mood to go to the case, slept. Next day also I did the same, around about 7 o'clock, took the case out, power went off, stayed that the power will come now, no, it didn't. 10 o'clock power came, I was not in the mood, just slept. 3rd day also what happened, the same thing happened. Power went off, I didn't wait till 10 o'clock at early dinner and went to bed. The following day, papers carried out an article saying that catchment area, no rain, and there'll be a temporary power cut for a day or 2, and for people to bear it. And this power cut continued for 1 week, and I haven't done anything with regard to this case. What happened? The weekend papers had an article and said catchment area, no rains and no signs of any rains coming. And then therefore that, okay, this power cut will continue until further notice. Now I'm in deep trouble. Early morning, I can't wake up and then study. Can't take the case to office and do it. Lack of focus. And night, no power. Then I discussed with my wife and then decided I'm not going to do the case this time. Okay, I will postpone it. And I'll do it after 6 months' time. Then there was a friend of mine. We both had been studying this case study previously in both occasions together. We did the combined studies together. We did the analysis together. We prepared the folder together. And both occasions we went for the examination of together and answered in the same way, both of us together, and both have failed in the same way together. So what happened? Third time we decided you do your own analysis, I will do my own analysis. So this guy called me on the 10th day, and then he was asking me, Dammika, what is your communication strategy? I said, you are talking nonsense. I haven't had the case even. I do not know the color of the case even. He said, Dammika, are you kidding? I said, no, I'm serious. He said, Dammika, if you go to the case, you will realize this time there are 60 pages and case is much more tougher than ever before. Okay, by now, we must have completed the strategy. You said that you haven't read the case. I said, yes. What am I going to do, Dammika? I said, I have decided not to do the case this time. Why? I said, no power to do the case study analysis in the evening. He said, Dammika, I'm also from Greater Colombo area. I had been facing the same problem. Dammika, first day no power, second day no power, third day no power. I kept on blaming the government, CD, World Bank. And then I found each time when I put the blame to somebody, shame and the claim will always remain with me. And more we are going to postpone this exam and to get ourselves qualified. Younger people are going to get qualified and we are going to lose opportunities. Dammika, I just use a little lamp, right? And with the use of that, I'm doing this. Why not you also do the same? Oh, so I was thinking, yeah, let me try it out. I just went to a shop and just bought a little lamp. And with the aid of that lamp, I started doing this case study analysis. I found, oh, rural areas, how these students with limited facilities, they excel in their studies. And I learned it from that little lamp. Why? When you are doing your analysis, the light of a little lamp, it highlights the area which you are supposed to study. And your distraction won't be there at all. Your focus is 100% towards the case study, what you are doing. Whatever. Otherwise, when you have too much of like, each time your wife is passing by, you are tempted to look at her, it's my same wife, don't keep on fasting. And then the children are crying, how you look at it. And you are tempted to come on for the TV, right? Or the teledrama. Here, of course, focus is here, dear friends. And 3 hours at a stretch, the focus was there. And you sit on the same place and then you concentrate and then study because you don't move around because you know you can't enjoy yourself. And just with 20 days of work, I went to get a B grade and complete that subject and complete the degree. So it says that we must look for the circumstances what we want, and if we can't find them, make it, and that way you achieve success. So capitalize on the power of circumstances. Number 3, execute without excuses. And initially, when the lockdown was announced, people wanted to stay at home. But when it continued from a week to 2, last year I'm talking about 3, 4 weeks, come on, a new thing came in, work from home. And it's a new thing that came from work from home. Right. Now, today, this is a norm. And everybody had got used to it and working from home. And this will be the future as well. It will be the future as well. And as that chairman said in that board meeting, this perhaps you may have to call as a COVID decade. It will come in different forms with different variants. And then we really have to face it and move forward. And responsibility on the part of the employer, right? Provide the basic tools to work from home. Number 2, access to a client's database must be given. Otherwise, you can't do a thing. Number 3, empower to take decisions based on good judgment. Based on good judgment, we must empower our employees to take decisions. Otherwise, each and every time you keep on referring to so and so, so many people, oh, you are unable to take decisions. D, do not allow the staff to feel isolated. When you are working all alone, and there are research studies that say that, okay, people get into severe isolation. So let them not feel about it. Talk to them. Recognize the good performance. And this is the must. People who are showing results, recognize them. So that, okay, they feel happy. And then, okay, others also feel, oh, let us all get inspired. And then perform well. So that we also will get recognized. So this is the responsibility of an employer. And responsibilities of the employees is prepare a workable schedule. Don't have too many things in mind. Just prepare a workable schedule. right? And these are the things what I'm going to do during the day, right? Have a list and then work the list. Okay. Number 2, set up designated workplaces. You must have a proper designated workplace to do so, right? And many say avoid your bedroom because the moment you see the bed, the temptation is to just lie there and take a break. And the next is place the right technology. Whatever the technology you need, get there, right? And you need it, and without that you cannot do it. And the next is plan to deal with potential disruptions. Maybe your children are crying, or maybe your pets are screaming, and all neighbors are screaming. Whatever it is, that okay, you must have a way to handle disruption and schedule extra social interactions as well to break the boredom and maybe the monotony that on and off. What's needed is that you got to have some extra activities in place. Okay, that is about execute without excuses. Number 4 is convert your resistance towards assistance. During this time, if you feel that there are resistance, and convert towards assistance. And this, in a way, it says that learn to sleep with your enemy, kind of a thing. The thinking is that instead of being against something, be for something. That way you don't become a part of the problem, but part of the solution. Shiptera says this. A very simple illustration, and this is a true story they say when we were learning management. Here we are, you get this, the platoons are coming from 2 directions. Now see, west and the east. Who is at an advantage to win the war? West and east. The time is 4:30 p.m. I'm sure you can see that in your screen. I put the time is 4:30 p.m. Now it's 4:30 p.m. means sun is towards the west. Who is at an advantage to win the war? It is of course the west. Why? They can see the east enemy well. And sun rays are falling on the enemy's face. As a result, he cannot focus the guys who are there in the west. So of course, the west, that platoon is at an advantage to win the war. Now what happened? Sunset. Sunset. So what will happen the next day morning now? Next day morning with the sunrise, who is now at an advantage to win the war? It is the opposite. East, because sun is behind them, right? So west, the powerful sun rays are falling on their eyes. So they cannot focus on the enemy. So that east is going to win the war. Now what happened? Haha. Now east started celebrating their success well in advance in that evening. They started celebrating their success well in advance. It's dark now, you can't fight because tomorrow morning, sun is at the advantage, right, for the advantage. And they can see the west enemy well, and east is going to win. So they started whining, dining, singing, dancing, they did everything. And west guys, the morale went down. And they were blaming each other. Now see, easily we would have won the war this evening. It was for our advantage. But you guys were slow, you didn't come forward, and you give the command of all that, and they were blaming each other. And they were worried. And they were hearing what the enemy was celebrating at that time. Can you see the enemy singing? And then he's celebrating his success. Come on, tomorrow morning we are gone. Commanding Chief walked in and he said, why you guys look so worried? He said, sir, war was at our advantage. We would have easily won the war. But what happened? Hey, none of us, we are focused. We never move forward and to destroy the enemy because sunlight was at our advantage. Now what happened? Hey, sunset, and now the advantage goes to the east tomorrow morning. So, sir, can you hear the way how the east, the platoon, the way how they are celebrating their success? And tomorrow morning we are gone. What happened? These guys said, the commander-in-chief said, hey, you fools, convert your resistance towards assistance. He said, convert your resistance towards assistance. And then these guys were wondering, hey, how? Now, what is your resistance? Is the sunlight. Make it towards your favor. Make it towards your favor. Assistance. What did he ask them to do? You guys, without being worried, right throughout the night, hoist the shields. That's all you have to do. Right. So what did they do now? The guys who are in the east, the west, they started putting brasso to their shields. And the next day morning, what happened? The war started. The guys who were in the east, they were moving forward, thinking that it's a piece of cake of winning the war. Why? Sun is behind us. and we can see the enemy well. What did those guys do? Unexpected thing by the east. What these guys, the west guys, they put their shields forward and they move forward. And the reflection took place. And then what happened? Most of them, the platoon coming from the east, their eyes got red. They couldn't focus well because sunlight, the rays were in the reflection was hitting very hard on them. And then, as a result, West won the war. Convert your resistance towards resistance. And so many ways you can do this. Convert your resistance to resistance. A property development company, I was doing a fact find with some of their employees recently. And interestingly, one guy said a story. He said, sir, we bought a plot of land. And then what happened? When people came to see this land, neighbors were creating all kinds of stories. And they were never allowing others to buy this land. But we have bought the land. We have plotted it. Now, I was made the person to look after this land. And in fact, my manager told me, just put a fence, a gate, and then just wait for a while. Don't go and sell it now. But he said, sir, I did something interesting. What did I do? We did that, fence, then the gate. After that, I did something interesting. I got very friendly with all the young children around that land area. And then I made this land a playground for them to come and play. And I used to go and play cricket with them. I used to go and play netball with them. I used to go and play football with them. So I used to do that. Then what happened? I won the hearts of all those children. Means by and large the parents as well. So they used to call me, give a cup of tea, they used to call me, they used to give lunch, and those children used to bring me food, and then I was with them. Finally, what happened? I became so friendly, they themselves started helping me to sell. And some of them who had money, who wanted to take loans, came and bought some plots from there. And as a result, he said 90% of the plots that were there, I managed to sell. So convert your resistance to assistance. I'm talking about certain aspects, these theories. Think on those directions and see the crisis situation, how well you could use it to your advantage. Okay, the next is best idea necessarily need not come from the top. Often we wait and we feel the top, the superiors might give the best ideas. No. Dear friends, crisis times, you become very innovative, creative. And you need not wait until the top gives the best idea. You can innovatively, creatively think what would suit at this moment of time. And then you can do the needful. A little exercise, interestingly, this was there in Search of Excellence book some time back. And I thought of sharing this with you. Now, this is a bottle kept flat. And inside the bottle, you get half a dozen bees and half a dozen flowers. And if you look at the open side of the bottle is exposed towards darkness. The closed side is exposed towards light. Okay. You get half a dozen bees and half a dozen flowers. So again, I'm saying that the open side is exposed towards darkness. Closed side is exposed towards light. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Number 1, would anyone come out of the bottle? Number 2, if so, who would first come out of the bottle? Number 3, why would it come out of the bottle first? Just reflect on this exercise for 30 seconds. Right. The question number 1, would anyone come out of the bottle? Right. So easy way out is that you can stay without answering the 2 of the questions and nobody is coming out. Right? No. Now, in one forum when I was doing this, a guy said, of course, definitely there must be somebody coming out, otherwise he wouldn't have asked the other 2 questions. So the research proves, this is a research proven thing, yes. Out of these 2 creatures, one is coming out. If so, who would first come out of the bottle? Now, some would say bees, some would say flies, right? Think about it. Now, sometimes people say, hey, flies would come out because they feel closer to the open side of the bottle, it's a fly that's there, so he had already found a way, so the direction will come out. No, they accidentally only put them, so it's not purposefully that. No. Some say, hey, bees will come out because they say the hive is dark, and they're not used to getting to dark all the time, so therefore that they will come. Right. And some say bees will start attacking the flies, So flies will somehow find a way and then go. No. I'm going to give you a clue. It is something to do with instinct versus intelligence. Instinct versus intelligence. Apply that to a human being. Look at it. When you are inside a tunnel, and if you want to find your way out, you often go in search of light. Now, out of these two creatures inside this bottle, bees and flies, my question is, who is more intelligent? Of course, you would agree, bees are more intelligent. Why? That's why sunny days, they go and collect nectar, and they store it and keep it for rainy days consumption. Unfortunately, what happens is they store well in excess. So we human beings have imposed taxes on them, and we go and collect that. They are honey, right? Okay. So bees are, of course, intelligent. Flies, what do? They just fly whatever the food that they find, they just consume. Watch. Now, when a man is inside a tunnel, if you want to find the way out because of his intellect, he will always go in search of light. Now, the same thing applies here. Bees are much more intelligent than flies. So bees will go in search of light, right? And they know this is the way out, this is the way out, this is the way out. And they go and get trapped at the bottom part of the bottle. Flies, what do? They just keep on flying, suddenly find the open hole, and then they just float. From the open hole, they just walk. So come. Flies will come out and bees will get stuck. Why is that? Because they are too intelligent. Therefore, they can't find the solution. What is instinct in business? That is your experience. So, friends, please understand that your experience, what you have gathered all this time, matters a lot at a crisis time to come up with solutions. It doesn't mean that you should not be intelligent. No, you got to have that. But ideally, if you can have a mix with your intellect and your instinct, the great results can be formed. Okay? Just watch. Who feels the heat of the fire most? The man who is closer to the fire. He's the person who feels it. Toyota company, I know your company when I was reading the profile. It's about maybe over 20 people had gone for this training, LKCM training, and then AOTS training that's being held in Japan. And me too had the privilege of going for this training, and this we went to the Toyota plant. There are 26 plants in Japan, and this is one of the plants which we visited. Over the last 30 years, by and large, they have implemented 400,000 new ideas to improve productivity and the quality of the vehicles. And out of them, they say nearly about 80 ideas have come from the people who are on the floor. The reason being that people who are closer to the fire, they are the ones who feel the heat the best. So they have come up with innovative solutions. I'll give you a classic example. In Japan, JR, Japanese Railway, is the most popular rail line. And Tokyo, there are about 30 million people living out of 130 million population, 30 million people live in Tokyo. And in Tokyo, out of those 30 million, about 5.5 million for a day take JR, Japanese Railway, for transportation and move from one place to another. It's a very popular transportation system there in Japan. Shinkansen train is one of them. Now what happened? Japan, they believe in developing infrastructure. They wanted to put a rail line towards east. And Japan, you know, is full of mountains. All in all, they have about 6,193 mountains. So when they had to put this rail line, they had to dig so many mountains, right? And then put the rail line. One of the mountains, when they were digging, they found a big problem. They had to face a big problem. What is it? There was a water stream that was coming in. And Japan is a country where they protect their natural resources to a great extent. So inside this tunnel, when the workers were working, they took a break only for 2 days. And Japanese engineers decided, we'll go to Tokyo City, study the maps, and then come to divert this water stream to a nearby river. And until such time, we are not going to do any work. So a couple of engineers went to Tokyo to study the maps and to see how well that we could divert this water stream to a closer river. Meantime, the laborers who were inside the tunnel, one guy just happened to take a little water in his hand and consume. He found that water was refreshing and the taste was different. And he asked his colleagues also to do the same thing. And they also came and said, yeah, lovely, lovely, nice water. You feel like drinking more and more. So engineers came back. Then this laborer who tasted his first bit and said, hey, why are we trying to divert this water to a nearby water stream? Instead, why not we have a bottling plant beside the tunnel, pump all this water into that plant, and we will make bottled water. What happened? The best idea came from the guy, the laborer, who was working inside the tunnel. And Japan, they welcome new ideas. They immediately took a water sample and they tested and they found all the ingredients that are needed for H2 or the drinking water was there. And they went ahead with this idea, laborer's idea. They formed a subsidiary company and they put a plant beside the tunnel. All the water was pumped in there, they bottled. And now they wanted to market it. Then they decided how to market it. Now, Shinkansen and Japanese rail, long distance travel. Inside, you get a cafeteria and a self-service, or the trolley comes serving you food. So they decided only this particular water brand will start selling inside the train. So people will get used to the taste. They will feel the difference. And then, oh, no choice, no other brands are available. Of course, people started buying this brand, water. Then what happened? When they realized the taste, they started going in search of this water to supermarkets, groceries, and then restaurants, hotels, hospitals, wherever they were asking for this particular brand. And brand became popular within no time. So what happened? With the use of the power of the brand, they started making soft drinks. So people get a feeling, hey, soft drink is also being used by using the same water. And come on, soft drink had a market. Subsequently, the brand became so powerful, they ended up producing tea and coffee powder, which has no connection to water because the brand was so powerful. And whose idea? That's laborer's idea worked. And this subsidiary company was earning quite a lot of money. So we got to understand that best idea necessarily need not come from the top. The people who are close to that environment, circumstances, that the resources, whatever it is, they are the ones who have come out with the best possible ideas. Now, in our company's think, it's a question, do we have a staff feedback system? Now, suggestion box. Here I'm bringing a new concept called IGP, Idea Generation Platform. Now, many organizations have been having suggestion boxes, but the research proves that hardly those suggestion boxes are being opened. The reason is keys mistakes, so that you hardly open it. Now, do away with these suggestion boxes. Instead, what you can do is you better have idea generation platforms. Get all kind of people to this forum, maybe every other week or at least once a month, and ask people to speak. And I got this idea, IGP, when I was running a training program in Maldives. I was running a training program to KPMG, and it was on a Friday, so they have a prayer break, a long break. So I went to a nearby hotel to have my lunch. And this hotel is the best you find in Mali. It's so many people used to go there to have lunch because maybe they're vegetarian, so I have a choice there, so I can always eat what I want. So at a corner, they had made arrangements for me to have the lunch, and it was a late lunch, around about 2:30 I was there. The general managers of this hotel walked up to me, and she knows me because since I have been going there often to have meals. He said, hey, Dammika, you're back here in Maldives? I said, yes. With whom are you this time? I said, this client. So where are you staying? Why is there not going to stay with our hotel? The Gem Hotel is one of the best hotels there. So I said, no, the client had made arrangements for one night that I'm going to stay there and get back. So he said, Dammika, you've got to excuse me. I'm going to do a food tasting. I said, what do you mean? No, next month we are going to introduce some new food items to the menu card. So we are going to do a food tasting. All what you can do is, if you have time, you also can come and join us. I said, yeah, I would like to know what it is. So I was observing, what are they doing now? Here we are. The chef is there. The stewards who are there, predominantly they are the ones who are there. The restaurant stewards, they are there. And in addition to that, accountant. Now, all the food, new plate dishes, what they are going to introduce on display. Now, first of all, the general managers, this lady, the white blouse, she used to ask these people, the stewards and stewardess, to come in on the appearance of the plate. So some say, oh, madam, no, the piece of fish, it's not elevated enough. We got to elevate it. Then the guests will get excited when you bring up to the table. And some say, oh, this is not colorful, has little green leaves here. So, all right. So the chef is noting down all that. And then thereafter, what happened? They are being given an opportunity to taste. a little bit, right? So they taste. And they say, oh, it's a bit sour, or maybe it's a little sugar, or probably could be that, okay, not spicy enough. So chef is noting now. Then the accountant comes in, and then the accountant asks, hey, now this kind of a plate, what would be the price you think that you can sell? Then they say, if you make those improvements, right? Oh, this tuna sandwich, Europeans love it. We can sell this for about $20. So probably accountant, what he had in mind based on the costing and the profit, 15, he would increase it up to 18. Right. Then they would show another dish and ask, say, what do you think of this? Ah, this is pav bhaji. How Indians love it. Great. And then we can sell it for about maybe $10. So accountant, what he had in mind could be $10 based on his costing. So he would say, oh, fine, go ahead. Hey, what do you think about this dish? Right. So they would say, it's a fish, the Sri Lankan type curry. So how much do you think that you can get for this? So look at it and say, okay, but Sri Lankans, they know the taste and they know a better ways of making it. Probably they would not pay more than $5. But accountant had in mind could be $7. Now he would reduce about $6. So they agree collectively. Collectively they agree. And the food is being introduced next month to the menu card. So everybody had taken the responsibility, and the students are the ones who have said that they can sell, so somehow that they will send it to the guests. So idea generation platform is a good thing to start at a time like this. Ideally every 2 weeks or at least once a month. And talk about it. It can be for anything. It can be for new product, cost reduction, improving your channels, whatever it is. Okay, solving your labor problems, whatever it is. So have this. Okay, this idea is certainly not come from the top. Six is the find the difference that makes the prominence. Find the difference that makes the prominence. And a great learning came during this time, pandemic time, from Lasana Flora. Company that is known for floral products. But Dr. Lasanta Malavi is a visionary who had been running this business. Initially, he was the person who had the freezer products. And he had his stores, freezers are fixed. And he's believing in technology. So online ordering started, that is of flowers. Now what happened with the pandemic coming in, he realized, hey, come on, nobody's going to ask for flowers during these days. Functions are getting canceled. Weddings are not going to be there. People are not going to decorate their houses or offices with flowers, but flowers bloom. So now what am I to do? He was thinking about the strength. What is the strength he had? He had 3 strengths. Number 1, staff. Number 2, technology, and freezing facility. Okay, with the pandemic, what will happen? People cannot move about. But here we are, many of my farms are in the hill country. So I know the vegetable farmers. So here we are, I must use a way to bridge the gap between the customer. Customers are in need of food because they can't get out because lockdown. And here we are, the growers, the vegetable growers, they cannot sell because they can't go. Now, with all this facility, why not I bridge the gap? Find the difference that can make the prominence. Immediately, he walked up to the authorities. He said, okay, me being a doctor, I will take all the precautionary measures. I have the resources. Why not we fulfill the requirement of the customers at the same time, okay, fulfill the requirement of the farmers. And it became quite successful. Though they had some teething problems initially, and today, now they are known for delivering a service. And any pandemic situation, and then probably any lockdown situation, they are a company who is working. Find the difference that can make the prominence. And his philosophy had been, we started operating during the lockdown using the available resources, such as the existing manpower, freezer fleet, storage facilities, and technology to the fullest capacity. Furthermore, this move helped bridge the gap between the farmer and the consumer at a crucial time. This service initiative was highly patronized and commended by many as a consumer convenience. Find the difference that can make the prominence. Okay, and here we are, dear friends. Ideally, new entrepreneurs came out. And you all may have seen Himla Junction, the road. New products are brought. And the new products are what you may have seen this. Polroti Urumasam. It's a new combination. So people, they are near the lake, they go for their evening jog, right? They burn out enough calories and they come and add more calories by taking pork with whole roti, right? Great, good product, and it's a fast moving product. So people came up with different kind of concepts at a time like this. And whoever thought a government entity like Sri Lankan Post will initiate delivering medicine to people's residence? I mean, an entity that is known to delivering letters, parcels, delivering medicine, just a matter of just ordering it and it comes, the postman carrying the medicine, and became successful enterprise. And friends, because find the difference that makes the prominence, and ideally this was being said in a different way by the dialogue, the group CEO today, the regional CEO today, Dr. Hans Vijay Surya. More the uncertainty, greater the opportunity. When more uncertainties are there, your creative mind can work and you can find more and more opportunities. Find the difference that makes the prominence. Okay, come to the next one, build relationships. It is a crucial and needed factor at a time like this because people are very, very sensitive these days. Very sensitive. So whatever the business, if you can go beyond a business and build a kind of a relationship, it helps a lot. There are enormous ways of doing this. Let me share a story as I've been telling you while I was building the house, what I faced. I wanted to fix a solar heater to the roof. My architect recommended a particular vendor. I called him. He said, okay, sir, let me visit your site, get the measurements right, and then I will send you a quotation. So he sent me a quotation for 195,000 rupees. I said, is it the best that you could do? Then he worked out his figures and all that. He said, okay, sir, 175,000 rupees I'll give you. I said, okay, confirm. I just sent an email, confirm. He said, sir, you are very busy. I will coordinate with the site, and the time it's right, coordinate with the plumber, the electrician, and the main contractor, and I will keep you informed, and then we'll go and fix it. Right? I said, okay, you send me the invoice. He sent me the invoice, but I haven't made any kind of a payment. After about 2 months' time, my contractor, electrician, and the plumber says, so yesterday, these guys came, the solar heater people came, and they fixed it onto the roof. And they went. So I was wondering, how come I have okayed it, confirmed it, but I haven't paid? How can they just come and fix it? Now I can always stay without paying. I can stay without paying because now it's fixed to my roof. And okay, by force they cannot come to my land, my area, and then remove it and take it. I can make a complaint to the police. So I can later on, if they ask for money, I say, who asked you to go and fix it? I can do that. So following day, I called this guy, sales guy, and I said, hey, I have gone and fixed this without asking. Right? I haven't made any kind of a payment. I have confirmed it. It's true. But without a payment, how can you go and do that? I have decided not to pay. What am I going to do now? He said, sir, I treasure relationships, sir. Sir, when you confirm through your email, below you found your address, your company address and your personal address. I visited your website. Then I realized you're a corporate trainer. And I visited some of your clips. I realized you are asking people to do the right thing. So here we are. It's a privilege that I got to work with you, sir. And I know very well, sir, under any circumstances, a man who is asking others to do the right thing, he will never do the wrong thing. I know that, okay, let me fix it. You are very busy. I need not disturb you. And you will order my payment, sir. So I knew that very well, sir. I said, you send somebody home now, I'll give cash. And dear friends, are we in a position to understand our customers' exact requirements and go a step beyond at a time like this and strengthen relationships? And this was fixed. And here we are, my dear friends. What happened? I have taken only one company because all the three companies, it's very difficult to put the logos there. So bear with me, the other two companies. And here we are, you get at the three corners, you get the customer, salesperson, and the company. Company does a kind of a communication to the salesperson that is called internal marketing, and I've drawn the arrow both sides. And here we are, the company will talk about the products, offers, commissions, target audience, all that. Salesperson is supposed to go and sell, achieve targets, and then bring the money into the company. And in addition to that, market sentiments, whatever you get to know, you are supposed to communicate that to the company. And salesperson is the communication to the customer, and that is so-called relationship marketing. Then in addition to that, the company does a direct communication to the customer that is external marketing through your mark of material. Now, research proves the customer come back to your entity always happens to the salesperson. Now, necessarily here, though I put salesperson, if you take your company as a whole, it is through service person. And service person today is known not only the front line, the back office, everybody together. We are doing something to make our external customer happy. So you got to understand that fact and then do so. Okay, and dear friends, at a time like this, be cautious. Look at this tennis player. If you really want to win this tennis game, your concentration got to be on the ball. You got to be on the ball. The moment you lose your concentration on the ball and when you look at the scoreboard, what happened? You won't be able to win the game. You won't be able to win the game. So when you concentrate on the ball, your focus is there. But the moment you start looking at the scoreboard, how much more I have to score, you're going to lose the focus towards the ball. You're going to miss the ball and you're not going to win. So therefore I say that. Achieving sales target at any cost is like playing tennis with your eye on the scoreboard and not on the ball. Be cautious about the wrong sale. You can earn a commission using a sales technique and making a sale. You can earn a fortune building friendships and relationships, and therefore pressure the importance of building relationships. And 8 is a very current topic that I'm going to talk about. Be realistically optimistic. Be realistically optimistic. I was once running a training program sometime back in Auckland, New Zealand. When I was talking about the need to be positive, optimistic, there's a guy got up and said, there's a thing called realistic. And what do you think about it? To be very frank, this is about 11 years ago, I never had an answer at that moment of time. He said, face the reality. You say that all the time, be positive, face the reality. But I found the answer with this crisis for that. All the time we had been telling, be optimistic, be optimistic, be optimistic, but face the reality. And that's what, when I was putting up the house, everybody is saying, hey, so far the past, you have shown results. Hey, great, be positive, do it, fine, spend any money, borrow, and complete it. Right. Optimistic, but realistically optimistic. This learning came to me during the crisis time, dear friends, from this guy. And Admiral James Stockdale. What happened to this guy? During the Vietnam War time, he was captured alive with 9 others by the rebels in Vietnam. You know, when a force, enemy force, get into the hands of the rebels, what do? They don't kill you, but they'll kill you without killing. They torture. So what happened? All those 10 people who were captured, they were tortured to the maximum. US naval officers. And all the other people who have been tortured, except this guy, all the 9 others, they said it's very temporary, very soon they will release us. It could be for Easter, for Christmas, or for our birthday, or our national day, they will release us. That never happened. They kept on torturing them. They never happened. This guy had a different viewpoint, and this was his thinking. You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. I'm in the hands of the rebels, no escape. I will do whatever they're asking me to do. And I do not know when this is going to come to an end. But one day it will come to an end, but I cannot definitely say when. Until then, I will go ahead with this game. All the others, they had short-term dates. Like, come on, Christmas, birthday, Easter, National Day will be released. But here, whatever. Friends, all the other 9 people, they perished, they died, except this guy. So, realistically, be positive. I will be escaped one day, but I cannot say when. Until then, I will face. Similarly, this pandemic also will come to an end one day. And we cannot say when. We cannot wait until then. All what you got to do is, now what you can do it. What you can do it. Now, Singapore yesterday, very interestingly, their finance minister, health minister, and economic minister clearly said that we are going to stop counting the ones who are going to get infected. We are going to stop counting the ones who are going to die from this. What's the purpose? Now, initially, what did we do? Even the ones when 2 or 3 people, when they died, we even show the way how they were being cremated in the tree. What's the purpose? The smoke going out. What? It doesn't achieve anything. And here we are, Singapore, they say by August, all our population will be vaccinated. Gradually, we are going to open it up and we are going to be the same Singapore again. Because we are not going to wait until this is over. So be realistically optimistic. And here we are, Vogue Jewelers is one company over the last 20 years. Every year, I used to run a training program with them in November last Sunday, just before the festive season, to inspire the staff. And we had to break this record. And last year was the only year, 2019, where we could do that because gathering was not enough. They have booked Hilton and 150 people, the staff was supposed to come, but couldn't do that. But instead, what the managing director told me was, he said that, okay, Dammika, second we are opening, second morning, come and speak to my staff 2 hours. I said, come on, yes, I will do that. And before doing that, I asked, what is the message that you want me to convey to your staff this time? He said a very interesting thing. He said, accept change as a reality. Do the possible adjustments accordingly. Move forward with the firm belief that things will be better again in the future. Somewhat similar to what James Stockley had said. Great. Okay. And finally, realize the big picture and enjoy everything you do. During a crisis, realize the big picture and enjoy everything you do. I'm getting some learnings here. Big picture. Now, who went to the moon first? It is Americans. How did they get there? Not by foot. They went by mind, vision. You know, John F. Kennedy, when he was being appointed to House in 1961, he addressed the scientists and he said, this decade is going to be crucial for the mankind. During this decade, we must send a man to the moon and get him back home safe. So the man who is going to land the moon first is going to be none other than an American. That's what he said. He spelled out his vision. This decade, somebody is going to land on the moon. And the guy who is going to be there is going to be an American who is going to come back home safe. After a few months' time, he visited NASA Center. And he found a man mopping the floor. He just asked this guy, hey, what are you doing? He says, it's you? Oh, I'm doing whatever that I can do to send an American to the moon first and get him back home safe. See, even the man who was mopping the floor had an idea about the big picture. Now, he never said that I'm keeping the floor clean, otherwise you make a complaint, I'm going to lose a job tomorrow. No. That's your short vision. Now, here we have broader vision. So every one of us, we got to understand the big picture in our company, in our society, in our country at a moment like this, and see the kind of contribution that you are going to make towards it and understand and then move forward. And the next thing is enjoy everything what you do. Have that Lala Savar passion and do that. And whatever you are doing, you must do it with a joy. Enjoy everything you do. You have heard of Dr. Christine Bernard. Dr. Christine Bernard is the doctor, South African doctor who did the first heart transplant in 1968, 18th of December. That Saturday, nobody knew who this doctor was. But the next Monday, all over the world, headlines. Here comes a South African doctor called Christine Bernard that performed a heart transplant. We did it in 2018, after 50 years then in Candy. Doctor was competent enough to do a couple of surgeries of that sort. Now, from this doctor, once a patient asks, doctor, what time should a person must retire from his job? Doctor, tell me what time a person should retire from his job. So what this patient expected, what he expected was a kind of figure-related answer. Maybe 55, 60, 65, 70. But the doctor gave altogether a different kind of answer. What he said was, when you wake up in the morning, if you feel like that you should not go to work, that is the day you must retire from your job. When you wake up in the morning, if you feel like that you should not go to work, that is the day you must retire from your job. Friends, I'm asking a question. If that is the case, how many times by now we have sent our resignation to office, isn't it? It's nothing to do with the age. The moment you lose your enthusiasm, and that is the day that you must send your letter of resignation. So understand the big picture and enjoy everything that you do. Finally, dear friends, to take something home, I just want to run a little clip for about 3 minutes. And I say that at a time like this make a difference. You have heard of this story, but perhaps could be the first time you are seeing a clip of this sort. Let me share this clip with you. Sorry about it. Sorry.
There's a story I'd like to share. It was inspired by the writings of Lauren Isley. Isley was a very special person because he combined the best of two cultures. He was a scientist and a poet. And from those two perspectives, he wrote insightfully and beautifully about our world and our role in it. Once upon a time, there was a wise man, much like Isley himself, who used to go to the ocean to do his writing. He had a habit of walking on the beach before he began to write. One day, he was walking along the shore. As he looked down the beach, he saw a human figure moving like a dancer. He smiled to himself to think of someone who would dance to the baby. So he began to walk faster to catch up. As he got closer, he saw that it was a young man, and the young man wasn't dancing, but instead he was reaching down to the shore, picking up something. And very gently throwing it into the water. As he got closer, he called out, "Good morning, what are you doing?" The young man paused, looked up, and replied, "Throwing starfish in the ocean." "I guess I should have asked, why are you throwing starfish in the ocean?" "The sun is up, and the tide is going out. If I don't throw them in, they'll die." "But young man, don't you realize that there are miles and miles of beach and starfish all along? You can't possibly make a difference." The young man listened politely, and bent down and picked up another starfish. And threw it in the sea past the broken waves. Made a difference for that one. His response surprised the man. He was upset. He didn't know how to reply. So instead, he turned away and walked back to the cottage and began his writings. All day long, as he wrote, the image of that young man haunted him. He tried to ignore it, but the vision persisted. Finally, late in the afternoon, he realized that he, the scientist, he, the poet, had missed the essential nature of the young man's actions. Because he realized that what the young man was doing was choosing not to be an observer in the universe and watch it pass by, but was choosing to be an actor in the universe and make a difference. He was embarrassed. That night he went to bed, troubled. When morning came, he awoke, knowing that he had to do something. So he got up, put on his clothes, went to the beach, and found the young man. And with him, he spent the rest of the morning throwing starfish in the ocean. You see, what that young man's actions represents is something that is special in each and every one of us. We have all been gifted with the ability to make a difference. And if we can, like that young man, become aware of that gift, we gain, through the strength of our visions, the power to shape the future. And that is your challenge. That is my challenge. We must each find our starfish. And if we throw our stars wisely and well, I have no questions that the 21st century is going to be a wonderful place. Remember, vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world.
Okay, all what I want to share with you is make a difference rather than being just an observer. At a time like this, in a crisis, try and make a difference and understand the fact that we human beings are much more capable than what we think we are. And we will overcome this and we will make a difference. And we Sri Lankans, we have the greatest talent. Rather than complaining, we are doing. And that's what we are going to do during this decade, probably to get over all these problems and we as human beings and then society, and then maybe as a company, and by and large as a country, to make a difference. And then finally, let me end up with this slide. Destiny is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for, it's a thing to be achieved. And finally, every single thing that has ever happened in your life is preparing yourself to be better in your future endeavors. So here we are, the nature is preparing us to be better and better to face our future that is so uncertain, and we will succeed. Thank you, and if there is time, Anuruddha, I will welcome any questions based on this presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kalapuge. Dear team, if the change is the only constant in the equation, the only variable to change is yourself. Thank you very much for that wonderful, inspiring speech, 1.5 hours, even with an expert at Harris Plantations. Thank you very much, Mr. Kalapuge. So I would like to invite our Managing Director, Dr. Roshan Rajzore, for concluding remarks. Over to you, sir.
Good evening to you, Mr. Kalapuge. Nice to have you back again. Gentlemen, I think
yes,
all of us who listened to him in the last one. Nice to although by remote mechanism, still you are with us. Gentlemen and ladies who joined in on this Zoom session, expert with an, I would not be lying, I would not be exaggerating if I said that this is one of the best 1.5 hours that I have invested for a long time, particularly since the COVID pandemic began. I was really energized. My mind opened up. I'm sure I speak on behalf of the others in the plantation sector as well, because you brought out some real home truths in a very, very focused and a very interesting and appealing manner to us. So Kalapuge, thank you very much for taking the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
A lot of hard work that you have put in to your presentation and delivery of this standard. I am really, really privileged that I also sat and listened and went through your program. In fact, a lot of things that you already practicing, but probably different names. You were talking to us about lead. In fact, you'll be surprised even in the water bottles that we have given to all our head office staff, we have imprinted lead. Of course, we have almost the same thing. We have said learn, empower, achieve, and deliver. So your message you have twisted and put it in a different way. I suppose that we all think alike because we need to change our mindset. We need to have very positive or realistic, optimistic approach to get over this situation, particularly the plantation sector now beset with a lot of external and uncontrollable circumstances brought upon by, I probably will be very open to say man's folly, and I am talking about this total ban on organic inputs. So these are challenges that our planters must face, and I'm privileged to have a good set of planters on the ground who are well trained, who are equipped, and who are conditioned to take timely and appropriate decisions, like I have been telling them at our constant Zoom meetings. The old order has changed. Old order is that we should discuss, we should share, and give instructions and guidelines. But now every manager, every person at every level of leadership has to take decisions on the run, because the situations and circumstances are so different from day to day. It has empowered our people to be better leaders, and we always keep in mind that we can and we shall and we will make a difference, particularly since we are leading at least 300-400 people at the minimum, and some going up to 1,000, 2,000. So So once again, without taking much of the time, I really am very, very grateful. I really learned a lot during these 1.5 hours. And in fact, as you said, we also have a suggestion box, but unfortunately, it goes the way of all flesh. When you open up, you hardly find anything, although we encourage improvements and innovations. I don't know whether it's a culture in Sri Lanka, whether they feel that by giving suggestions and ideas for improvement, whether they'll be called upon to do it and whether it's a burden. I really don't know. We have done all these things, but I think this is a good eye-opener, gentlemen and ladies who are listening. What Mr. Kalapuge said, be bold, be brave, and be sort of courageous to give whatever innovative ideas or groundbreaking projects. Let it come out, and if it can be done, I think it will benefit everybody around. So I'm hoping that once the situation eases, that we can have another session with you on appropriate subject. In a more conducive environment for communication and body language, so that your message can really permeate through us. So thank you very much, Anirudh and the HR team, forensic managers. Thank you very much for taking the time. I'm sure by now each of you will realize that these are time very, very well spent and investment. And I hope you made some notes as we did. But surely Anirudh will try and get the presentation and share with us. It was really excellent, Ms. Kalapuge. You have done a lot of work. I must commend you for the width of the subject. And thank you very much once again. So may I once again wish you, your family, your organization, all the danger, and may you be blessed with every success and happiness in the years to come, with the wonderful work that you are doing in changing the people's mindset, their attitudes, and their thinking patterns, so that all of us, as an individual, as a part of the organization, as a part of the society, as a part of the country, will work or think or realize our potential and modernization. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Once again, thank you very much, Mr. Dammika Kalapuge. You made us our evening with an expert, session number 4. Stay positive in crisis times facing in new era. So a wonderful session. Thank you very much on behalf of our managing director, director CEOs, and entire team of Ellis Plantations. I would like to convey our great heartfelt gratitude to you, Mr. Kalapuge. And as our MD mentioned, once we get the green light on this situation, we will come back to you. We'll have another live session. Thank you very much and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you.